Welcome, everyone, to Tuesday night Luke Live Online. I'm Father James DeLucio, joining you on the eve of Ash Wednesday, which begins the Lenten season for Christians throughout the world. Tonight's pericope is Luke chapter 12, verses 22 to 34. And so we begin. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not worry about your life and what you are to eat, or about your body and what you are to wear, for life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Notice the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have neither storehouse nor barn, yet God feeds them. How much more important are you than birds? Can any of you, by worrying, add a moment to your lifespan?" Notice how the flowers grow. They do not toil or spin. But I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of them. And if God so clothes the grass in the field that grows today and is thrown into the oven tomorrow, will he not much more provide for you? Oh, you of little faith. As for you, do not seek what you are to eat and what you are to drink, and do not worry any more. All the nations of the world seek for these things, and your Father knows that you need them. Instead, seek his kingdom, and these other things will be given you besides. Do not be afraid any longer, little flock, for your Father is pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your belongings and give alms. Provide money bags for yourselves that do not wear out, an inexhaustible treasure in heaven that no thief can reach nor moth destroy. For where your treasure is, there also will your heart be." The Gospel of the Lord. An often quoted passage from Jesus' preaching, often known as the Lilies of the Field speech, although in our New American Revised Edition, that is the standard in Catholic Christianity, the translation doesn't use lilies of the field. It's just notice how the flowers grow. A little more generic. You can choose, you can pick, you can imagine the flower that you like. All right, now look. How have you been negotiating this passage through the years? Obviously, we have to pay attention to what we're going to eat and what we're going to drink and what clothes we put on our back. But what is Jesus actually talking about? He's saying, seek first the kingdom, and these other things will be given you besides. So what do you know? What is the kingdom? And the kingdom, as you know, is love of God with our whole being, to love ourselves as part of God's story, bigger than our own, and therefore to love all others as ourselves, seeking for the soul in everybody, that unique and yet common humanity in everyone. And if that is the way I perceive my life and this world, then in loving others, food comes and drink happens and clothes, because in the act of loving, we're working for and with others. We're abandoning the world's template that says, eat or be eaten, push yourself ahead at others' expense. We're engaged in the fullness of life, which is the kingdom, and we're using our talents, we're using our work that isn't just for us. Everybody gets to eat that way, if you think about it in that sense. Our season of Lent is calling for prayer and for almsgiving and for acts of justice and worship. Those are the three highlights of Lent: almsgiving, fasting, and prayer. And they are all coming together. I can do a little bit without, so there's a little bit more for my favorite charity. I can do a little bit without this or that. I can feel more connected to others and to the world. That's the kingdom. And as we live that way, the anxieties of life, they do tend to fade away. I love that line. Can any of you, by worrying, add 1 moment to your lifespan? Well, add a moment. I added that one. But add a moment to our lifespan, isn't it? I mean, really. And the whole sense, too, of living each day, one day at a time. Just glad to be alive, whether I achieve everything I mean to or not. Maybe it's because I get older, but this whole thing of everything's got to be done today or should have been done yesterday, really, unless the building's on fire and we've got to act fast, I don't know, we create these fires and even these timelines. Obviously, if you're in publishing, it has to be there, or even all of those of you who work on church bulletins, it has to be there. But on another level, we shouldn't be too anxious about it, although we try to be disciplined. But, love is God's meaning, and to act in all the best we can, surrendering to love and the patience that goes with it, that has a lot to do with what Jesus is talking about this night. We continue to pray for the situation in Ukraine, as appalled as we are from President Putin's use of old world violence and a sense of power and whatever else that fellow is thinking. We need to pray for his conversion. We need to pray that the diplomats will be truly inspired and to listen and to offer solutions that don't require bombs. Our world should be smarter than that, should it not? And we have this beautiful preaching of Jesus to keep sustaining us, inspiring us, and giving us hope. Thank you so much for joining me this night. Have a beautiful, beautiful Lent. That letting go, living a little more simply, eating a little less so others may eat. That's a good thing. Good night, everyone.